Welcome to the Bloody Mary Show with special guest Madam Cinnamon Black. Chat with the queens born and raised in New Orleans. I've been waiting for our guest inside the old cottage of Marie Laveau for quite some time, and now I see she's out here distracted.
Yeah, we've been knowing each other a long time.
We've been doing voodoo forever. And people come in town and ask us lots of questions, and they take pictures of you, and they take pictures of me. And then here comes American Horror Story. And there's a picture of this one blonde hair, European, Irish, French-looking, Indian-looking lady, like a gypsy, and a lady like me that looks like me. And she had my jewelry on.
That's funny, I didn't realize that, but I remember you saying
that they based American Horror Story off of you and me, and
we're the real.
We didn't get any royalties though.
No.
I did work on it. I had to do an exorcism on the set because everybody that worked there had negative paranormal experiences. You know? Oh well. Anyway, found some strays on the street that were looking at the sign and the offerings in front of this old Marie Laveau house, and she decided to teach him to dance. Oh well, it's a good distraction from the heart.
Let Caesar bet.
She's inside here.
Just a quickie view.
Come on out.
Wait a minute. What kind of snake
There's
is that, bat?
There's a tail.
Ah.
There's a tail.
Good for the gumbo.
Wow.
Really?
Come on. She's coming. Oh.
She's a musical snake.
No, it's dinner time.
Dinner time. Oh, she's...
Okay. Yes, it says dinner time. People don't know how to feed the soul.
Well, we're going to feed our souls, our friendship, our love, and the ancestors to the spirits of the place. As I up, down, left, right, oriented to the four directions. Let's go put it at the... Whoop, 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 whoop. I almost forgot one of the most important parts, to break the bread. There. You break bread with the dads. And then you go ahead and serve yourself. Well, here, come here and put this on the altar. We're just gonna orient it. So you go up and down and left and right. And like you were doing with those kids outside, here, step next to me. Now here's my turn to show you. One step to the right, one step to the left, one step to the right, and then spin left, and dip, and spin right, and dip, and spin left, and dip, and offer it. Between the whirls, up, down, left, right, drop and catch. Remember to watch till the end for spell time with Bloody Mary. Put it here, because they're going to join us. Come on, spirits. Spirits work is never done, right? I'm Bloody Mary. Welcome to New Orleans. We're inside the box. We're inside the box for the whole homestead of Voodoo Queen Marie Laveau, and I'm with my dear co-queen to the right, Miss Cinnamon, who has many names, and I'm going to let her do her own introduction. Please do.
Oh, it's great to be here. I'm Madame Cinnamon Black, and that's what they call me. Madame Cinnamon Black. Of course, my mom calls me Risa.
And do you have a different name in the Mardi Gras Indians?
Yes, I am Big Queen.
Just Big Queen?
Big Queen, Voodoo Baby Doll Queen.
Well, that's two different things, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
that's another thing.
Yeah, I mean, I know they're all
what happened was
merged.
I started off as a baby doll
right.
in the traditional New Orleans, and eventually I was appointed second queen. And my queen, she passed, and so...
I remember that was really hard on you.
Yes.
You know, as always, but...
Tonight, members of the Yaya Black Masking Indians are pleading for whoever shot and killed their big queen to surrender.
Once you're the queen, you're the queens.
Right.
Yeah, so she... Even though now maybe you can smile, I know it was very quick, very unexpected, and very horrible for you.
Great, but in the end, the honor was greatly appreciated because to become a queen by default was just okay, but to become a queen is always a good thing.
Yes. Oh yeah. I definitely know you deserve it. You're always bright and shining and beautiful in everything that you do. At least my queen died of natural causes. I would have been so much more devastated had it been by violence. May they both rest in peace. Long live the queens. This is my Queen Margaret. This is a jazz funeral. Yes, there's even music for the dead in New Orleans for a good send-off. And play the part, play up the part is what I mean. You know, and you still be marching no matter how old you are. But of course, you're very, very young. And, you know, I didn't mean to imply otherwise. But it's hard to march in this damn town. It just gets hotter and hotter and hotter. I don't know how your stuff doesn't melt off your face, woman.
Well, as a queen, you know, you have to always make sure you have your family album together. You have to have your ring.
Okay.
You have to have your bracelet.
Okay.
You have to have your necklace and, of course, your tiara.
Okay. Don't you have big feathered outfits that you wear as well? Some more headpieces than just a tignon, right?
Exactly.
Even with the baby dolls, y'all have some pretty fancy hats, bonnets.
Yeah, we have to wear baby bonnets if you're a baby doll. And you have a pacifier, a bib, bloomers, and the baby bonnet.
Do you have a quick overview to our lovely audience on what the baby doll culture or what a baby doll is in New Orleans?
Well, it comes actually from Haiti, Brazil, St. Martin's, and Caribbean. It's a tradition that's passed on. It's ladies that dress the other. And some people say it's Oshun because they carry little baby dolls. And some of it, if they're in Trinidad, if they also have a tignon on the head. But in New Orleans, we wear parasols, baby bonnets. And we come out in the morning and we represent St. Anne. And we come out after what we call Papa Legua comes out, which is the bone and skeleton tradition.
Well, you have the Gede, which is the skull and bones. And then the Legba is what, after him?
After him.
Because Legba, we got Legba as the sun, and you got Gede as the moon. So that's when the skull and bones come out. It's still dark.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's still night. Yeah.
In the morning.
Yeah.
And then the baby dolls come out, and they're like the birth. They're the babies. They're the birth, and they parade around. And then about 9 o'clock, you would say the communities are then represented by the Indians.
So you run like hell and switch from
exactly.
baby dolls to Indians.
At 12 o'clock, you actually have, which is an actual transition. So from 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, until about 11:30, I'm a baby doll.
Okay.
And then when the time actually changes, I'm able to change with the time.
And you can do it quick enough? You do a quick change. I know how you are with getting ready. You're so fancy and so many things.
It's quite an experience. I have to have 3 people there with me, truly.
No,
one person is taking off the costume.
I've seen those outfits. I mean, I'm surprised people can walk.
Yeah. Out the door.
These are very elaborate costumes, people. Very elaborate. Let me see if this child. We're here in the house that is built on top of the old foundation of the original Marie Laveau house.
So we're sitting where Marie Laveau sits?
Yes, and especially right this second, we would have kind of been on our back porch. And the main house, the techie room and the altar room and the parlor would have been where her original house is. I've been doing filming and working, and we did parterres in one room, seance, ghost hunts, different types of divination, always feeding offerings. We did a something for Mother's Day. We did something for her death date, which is her ascension date, June 15th. We did something, of course, on June 23rd, but I was mainly out at the lake. But after the lake, bringing offerings and stuff back here. Well, no, that's St. John the Baptist.
St. John the Baptist.
St. Joseph Day, I wasn't here.
Okay.
But I make a St. Joseph altar in my house altar and in my Haunted Museum altar. So my mama was a St. Joseph nun before she married my dad. So I was dragged to St. Joseph altars, since I was a baby because of her. So I don't miss the St. Joseph altar. Now, did you grow up with a lot of St. Joseph altars? Were you Catholic at all?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
My grandmother, she made sure we went to church.
Mm-hmm.
And there was an altar in the home all the time.
When I was young, and here we go being old. When I was young, there were so many St. Joseph altars in people's homes. You could go and get fabulous meals when they were done. You could buy all the food and the money would go to the poor.
But times have changed.
Yeah, people go to people's garages. If I remember, my neighbor was filled with garages, filled with good food, and then of course the big ones at the churches. But the little ones in the hood is where you got the good food and where you really, did some of the traditions and learned to steal a lemon for love and all those other silly things that are, very serious spells. But that's all incorporated. A little bit of strega witchcraft magic from Italy brought over here to our big bubbling brew of gumbo magic.
You can say that again.
And that is what we are. And all these people that aren't from here will fight over, you can't do that, you can't do this. So we've been doing this for hundreds of years here. You maybe didn't do it in your culture.
But we did it here.
Yeah, we did it here.
Our magic might be a gumbo, but our damn gumbo is gumbo. Food is magic, and there's a lot of cooking and feeding the spirits and spells that have to do with cooking and just everything we're talking about. Why is the Mardi Gras Indian Special Day, which is March 19th, the same as St. Joseph Day with the big, giant, edible altars? There's definitely a cross-section there. And, of course, the Sicilian addition to the spices in our food is very much a part of Creole, though just not talked about as much as the French, the Indian, the Spanish, and, of course, the African. In fact, the word gumbo is an African word which means from okra, magumbo. Everything's got a base back in voodoo. Back in the day, in the times of Marie Laveau, they put a lot of things in that gumbo pot, magic and otherwise. Here is a hint. It's on the sign. It's a sign. Watch out, Sabet.
I mean, everybody's picking on me, of course, for being white lately. It's just really bad. It wasn't like that 20 years ago.
But I don't think you're white.
Well, maybe not. I'm probably I'm a little mixed anything else. Because I got the freckles.
You don't cook like you white.
Yeah, and you always tell me I didn't keep my porch like I was white. But this is what somebody told me the other day. I wrote something online and in passing, and I said something about the Mardi Gras Indians, and somebody battled me. It's indigenous peoples. It's like, no. This is the Mardi Gras Indians. This is what they call themselves. I'm not being politically insensitive and incorrect. It is the Mardi Gras Indians. Did y'all ever talk about having to change to Mardi Gras, Native American or Mardi Gras?
There has been some talk about that. There's the black masking Indians. There are indigenous Indians. Mm-hmm. There are Native Indians, and there's Mardi Gras Indians here. But the last name Indian is one big family. So I don't really pay too much of the first names because it has to come from the spirit inside. And so each one has a chief, they have a queen.
Right, it's a whole tribe in itself.
A whole
crew
tribe in itself. And the traditions have been passed on through family and through blood.
Right.
It's not something that you just pick up and become it.
Right.
You have to either be passed on by blood, family, or invitation.
Or marrying into it. Culturally, yeah, that's definitely. But I was like, this is obviously. I mean, it wasn't a big fight, but it was so obvious the person wasn't from here. It's like, no, I am not being insensitive. I'm saying the way they say it. Okay,
the way we say it.
And
the city is so tribal.
The city. This was somebody from somewhere else that didn't have. It wasn't somebody from the city. No, it was somebody that saw that comment online that I put a post to you or somebody in Mardi Gras Indians like, you shouldn't say that. It's like, that's what they're called. Things are changing. But New Orleans has always been a little weirder, you know, a little odder, a little different, a little unique. And that's why people love it here, you know? Yeah. So because of the uniqueness and the gumbo-ness. But there's a lot of people I'm sure you've noticed over the years, there's a lot of people that come here from other places. And their way's got to be the right way. And they don't like our ways, but they come here because they want to tap in on it. Do you notice that?
Yes. And then they want to become it.
Yeah, and then they want to tell you you're wrong. But they're from outside the box, and I can't get this to work. I just think that's got...
I tied my tea on and my hair too tight.
Oh, that's always a trouble, right? I'm going to give her the snake. The haunted doll, Maria gets the snake. Oh, she's sitting on the snake. Yay. Oh, she disappeared.
Don't move. If she moves, we'll understand why.
Well, I'm sure the snake will move. But anyway, hello. Edit. Let's do it again. Here we go. Me and Cinnamon, and me and Marie and the snake, Zabette. We are in my swamp magic area, my kitchen area, my herbal area. So that is good. Now, I go study a lot of different mystic traditions and compare them to all New Orleans customs that we grew up with. I'm sure you've noticed now, but probably couldn't have noticed as a kid, that a lot of the things that we were shown and did and stuff as children or seen our grandparents do had some basis in voodoo and customs, but they didn't say that. They just did them.
Exactly.
And, you know, and I know my family, if I said, "What, you know, why are you doing that?" One would say one thing, I'd say to somebody else, "Why are you doing that?" And I'd get another answer. And so the third person's like, "Why are you doing that?" And then after a while, I was like, I'm not buying this shit. Like, I'm not dumb. You know, like I'd get a different answer. I wouldn't tell them. I just go, okay, sure. And I keep digging because I had to know why, and a lot of those whys were in voodoo. Because voodoo was different here and grew with the culture side by side, it was ingrained in our customs and our food and our music. You got a lot of little snippets in the music that you learn about everything. You get a little bit more history or culture of what the people really believed and thought from the music.
At the dawn of day, Marie Laveau had passed away. In St. Louis Cemetery, she lays in a tomb. She was buried at night on the west of the moon. Oh, Marie Laveau. Oh, Marie Laveau. Hey, Marie Laveau. Oh, Marie Laveau. The folks still believe in the Voodoo Queen. Down yonder in New Orleans.
You get, a lot more bullshit and stuff on the internet now than you ever did. Now, what is your first memory of hearing about Marie Laveau as a child?
My first memory about hearing about Marie Laveau was when we would eat food.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did they say?
Well, they would tell you don't know what you're eating. They would tell me that the voodoo was in the food. So I would be scared to eat from her. They said, don't eat from everybody. They might get you. You got to be careful who you eat from.
That isn't said enough these days, but yeah, people do talk about that. And one of the sadder things that I remember hearing about Marie Laveau was that she was afraid of being poisoned a lot.
Yes.
And in that same way that people were out to get her out of jealousy, out of whatever reasons. So hopefully, knock on some wood, people aren't poisoning each other as much as they used to be. But yeah, I guess you should be careful where you eat. You just ate from me though, but you're totally safe with me. What would they think about restaurants, though? People didn't probably go to as many restaurants as we do today,
No,
you know?
the restaurants is...
I mean, they had them, but
No, they didn't. They went. They didn't. There were times, certain times, where they would go through churches.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that would be the first.
Fish fry.
The first foods that were like churches or major celebrations. You just didn't go to people's houses every day. You know, you didn't have a restaurant.
But don't eat the food. You heard about, and you said because Marie Laveau. Why would you think that was about Marie Laveau?
Well, I would ask. My grandfather would say, you don't eat from everybody. I'd be like, why?
And you say why?
And he would say, well, because you might get poisoned.
Or you might get
Or you might get possessed,
or somebody might put a spell on
They'll
you.
put a spell on you. And so we're like, where you get the spell from? They said, well, Marie Laveau, she was afraid to eat from people because she felt they would steal her magic. It would put a spell on her.
Or hurt her, poison her, I guess.
Yeah.
I have one of my teachers, most of them are gone. Now I'm the teacher, right? One of my teachers would still say, don't you eat any food when you go to this function or that food. And it's like, yeah, and sometimes I'll roll my eyes, and sometimes I'm aware. I'm watching somebody
Because you
do
don't know
something.
what their intent is when they're preparing.
Sometimes I was watching somebody do something at a party, and I was watching, and he was cooking the food, and everybody kept saying, eat the food. And I was like, he's doing something over there. I was watching stirring the gumbo, I'm like, okay. And the party's doing what it's doing, and all the fire alarms went off in the house like 3 times while he's doing this. I'm like, he's doing something like, it was real obvious, but it was setting off the alarms, and I didn't eat it. But I watched it and I knew it. But in general, I don't worry about that. Now, what I remember, it was literally like kindergarten, maybe first, but I think kindergarten, on the playground. I mean, that's way before internet. For this to get around, was go to Marie Laveau's grave and, on Halloween, I think it was, and turn around and make a wish and get an offering and you get your wish. I remember hearing that really, really young.
Yeah.
Also, there was the one that before the internet stories, before American Horror Story lies. There's the one about Marie Laveau put a curse on this town. If you came here, you always had to come back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's certainly not a curse, much of a curse, but could be a blessing. But I heard that one.
Yeah, that was going on because they were saying they were saying, oh, be careful in New Orleans. The voodoo's in the food, it's in the music, it's in the drinks, and if you have some of that, you're gonna always come back here because they're gonna get you. Or if you ate it, we already got you.
The river was what it is. If it wasn't that, it was the drink of the river.
They would say, I remember too. They would say that. The only reason why the gumbo tastes good here because we had the river water. So people, when they left home, like we would even go like to California, my parents would take gallons of water from here because they said that when they get there, that's the only way the food was. That would be their secret ingredients for the food.
Do you think that's true?
Yeah.
You think our water here is good?
No.
I work with the river and the river water, the blessed water, but I don't know what be coming out of that pipes at this point.
No, but that's the voodoo, man. If you don't have the water, you cannot break down those beans. You go there, the food is hard. It doesn't taste like anything.
So the food, the beans, the gumbo is different, all that. It's just funny. You hear so much stuff. Now sitting here, now I've already knew all the crap that was written in books and heard some other tours, but now that I'm here, I can hear bunches of people outside, even if I don't want to, just telling their story. And I can't believe they're going so back in time to some of the made-up stuff about Marie Laveau. I'm sure American Horror Story was part of that.
Yeah.
But what's the biggest lie, worst lie that you've heard about Marie Laveau?
Oh, my God. The most hilarious or the biggest one?
Oh, we'll go for both.
Okay. The biggest lie that I heard about Marie Laveau was that they felt that she killed her husband.
You know what? That came up the other day in a seance, and I said, that was one I never heard.
I never heard that before.
When did you hear that they thought that?
No, I hear stories.
Now you hear that. I had not heard that one. Well, then they found his death certificate, so she's off the hook. But she had said through a medium, she wants everybody to know that she didn't kill her husband. I said, that wasn't even a thing. It might have been a thing in her day.
Yeah.
He disappeared. What happened to him? She probably got rid of it. Maybe it was a thing when she was alive. But I've heard a zillion other things. I just hadn't heard that one. Now it's killing all the babies, of course. Baby killer bullshit. which is what
And
one culture wants to do to
There's
another.
also crazy stories. People are getting since the American Horror Story.
Yeah.
They get a Marie Laveau and Marie Laveau.
I know, because they have La in their name. How can that be La Lori and Laveau? That's literally why.
Oh gosh,
It's that little La. Because somebody said, "How could you be a proponent of Marie Laveau and she's so horribly racist?" I'm like, no. You got the wrong person there. It's LaLaurie that was the murder. You got it wrong.
They weren't even in the same year.
Well, they were. There was a crossover, but they were totally different stratas of society. I mean, she left in 1834, Laurie, but Laveau was here in 1834. So, but they were not rivals. They were not, working together. They may or may not have known each other. Laveau certainly heard about her.
They probably heard.
Who could not hear about that when the whole town knew at the time, But no, how much they're talking about stupid zombie stuff about her and making it believe. I don't know if you read this one book. It's awful. And I was like jaw drop when it first came out 10 years ago or so. It was like that Marie Laveau made a fortune selling zombie Civil War brides.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Zombie Civil War brides to the Union Army. It's like, so that doesn't even rank in reality of something that she could twist. It's like, no, she did not. I met a zombie making chair in St. Louis one too.
I think she was busy doing other stuff.
Yeah, she was definitely busy. Well, she's been looked at as someone who is a heroine or a hero in many heroes in different cultures, saints, Lolas, but she's also like a patron saint and a spiritual Lola. They're rewritten by each culture. I mean, now they keep writing her as an abolitionist, and the new thing is that she worked in the Underground Railroad, and there's no proof of that either. And she owned slaves, but she sold them. They said, "Oh no, she freed them," but she didn't. A lot of people at the time when they ended up freed ended up owning slaves, but it doesn't mean they were treating them badly. What do you think about that? Does that offend you when you hear that other people might have owned slaves?
I think the way that ownership is such a wide, vast word at that time, okay? And because someone was there in the household with you, she may have been able to free them from what they were going through and putting them into a safer space.
It's a good place and a bad place, yeah.
Yes, and so yes, she did own them on paper, but in reality, she had freed them. So
but she sold them, and she could have sold them to someone that she knew would take care of them.
She wasn't very rich. I mean, she wasn't very poor either.
Right, she was very middle class.
And she was very smart.
Yes,
so truly, her strategy.
And her dad had owned and trained slaves. So she was used to seeing that.
Exactly.
And it was a social thing more than it was a racial thing at the time. And yes, she took care of a lot of people off the street that she didn't own. She took care of children when their mothers died. She took in a lot of people that lived with her. When you owned you're supposed to have fed them, took care of them, and, everything else too.
But you know what? She got one good tradition that still stands.
Which one?
It stands higher than anything else. And is still practicing the laws.
And which is that, in your opinion?
That's the birthday.
The birthday?
Yeah, when Marie Laveau was coming on, she'll come by, and of course, it was the pandemic then, as it is the pandemic now.
It was the highest mortality rate in North America we had. It was an epidemic. An epidemic is worse than a pandemic. Pandemic means it's just globally spread. It was focused more in this area. So we had epidemics. Over half the deaths have to be due to one disease in 1 year for it to be an epidemic. Yes. So we had epidemics. We had diseases the whole 19th, but epidemics 56 of those years. So we had epidemics that she was an incredible healer and nurse through. So I think she stands for perseverance and tolerance through all of the horrible times, from the Civil War to after that, to the epidemics that were here and everything else, the takeover of the Americans and then take over the Americans again after the Civil War. I mean, she lived through all of that and survived. Many things she survived.
Blankets.
What?
The blankets. Remember the yellow fever? Remember she put the blankets on them to make them sweat.
Oh, okay. I thought you were making a a smallpox reference.
But also during her time, if you lived through the pandemic and you had a birthday, she would give you a $10 Dix.
Oh,
it's old Dixie,
Yeah.
that kind of Dixie.
But you can't say that kind of Dixie either. You can't say either one now.
You can't?
No, I can't say Dixie. They made him, even though it's not that, they made him get rid of Dixie beer because of racial connotations. When Dix was actually the name of a money
Right.
that was down here, and it meant 10 in
Exactly.
So you didn't have to get rid of Dixie because, well, I guess they were getting a lot of pressure to change it, and they did. But, some things were just historic. They weren't meant to be.
But it still exists. You see dollars on people now because it's their birthday. And we say we're glad that you live. But
I remember that when I was a kid.
That was started by Marie Laveau. She would give you a $10 Dix coin during her time if you lived and it was your birthday. And so now in the city of New Orleans, we still celebrate this tradition.
Do you remember that when you were a kid?
Yeah, I remember the money. I remember putting the money on people.
Give me the money.
At every birthday party, you put pin money on you. They would pin money on you. And they say that was started by Marie Laveau.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah.
I believe you, but I just haven't heard it.
Oh, you should have been in my house.
How's the snake? Is the snake like Marie? Does Marie like the snake?
I saw him moving. I had to look back at it.
Well, anyway, what my point was that she just keeps changing when people keep changing. So now, there's a secret entrance here that got to the Underground Railroad, and I don't think that was it. If anything, here is probably the boats. Everything was by boat. There was, we weren't a big railroad town. Even though I know that was a pun more than an actual railroad. But they were talking recently of trying to, say she was more of that. She certainly helped with prison reform. She helped with women's reform. Mm-hmm. She was an incredible healer. I didn't know about the birthday thing, but I'll thank her for that. I'll on her birthday, I'll pin some money around. I celebrate her on her death day, which would be like her ascension day.
But if even your friends and your family on their birthdays, in honor of her, you can still pin money on her.
Oh, I will. I pin money when I see it on people all the time. Yeah. I just never heard that was part of her. Oh, that's what I'm saying. Okay. No, I hadn't heard it that way.
My family.
Yeah, hadn't heard that one. I knew about the tomb. I knew about that. I knew about her watching over the city. I knew about, heard about her in St. John's Eve. I heard about her coming up in City Park.
Yeah, doing
like in the water.
Yeah, she would do rituals out there. I heard.
I go out there in the lake or at the bayou still. Old school, I dunk your ass under and do old river baptism.
See, a lot of times people thought that voodoo was practiced out in public, but it wasn't. There was some parts.
Cotton Square,
but there wasn't everything.
No, she had a lot of meetings here. Yeah. She called them rehearsals and meetings, and she did, from what we can figure out, voodoo seance. So I say I do that too, because remember, it crossed over with the spirituals movement pretty heavy. Yes. And obviously we're contacting spirits, but if it's voodoo with it, you could see that it also had a little dance and a little movement, since it's a dance religion, a musical religion, but still contacting the spirit. So we try to do that here, like misas. So anything to wake up the spirit energy, because it seems like there are a lot of things that she once clarified or said, and there's so many different things that we grew up hearing, and she changes. She doesn't make zombie brides to sell people, but I love. I mean, you can look at that one in a comical way, but Jesus, they say bad things. They say bad things about me. They say bad things about you, but I don't think anybody's ever said that about us.
No.
We might make the best Civil War zombie brides that you've ever seen, but nobody knew that about us, we have to go find some, dig them up, wake them up. That's another thing. That's the whole Hollywood aspect. Zombies aren't really a part of New Orleans. It wasn't really a part of much than fear of control of others in other areas. But I mean, what I like to get out is that New Orleans was her own animal. New Orleans wasn't Haiti. New Orleans wasn't Cuba. New Orleans wasn't Africa. New Orleans is New Orleans. And the different things about New Orleans is a spirit of place. And like her mama decided to use it a little differently. It's in the river. She would cook it with the river water, but in the river, the spirit of the river, which is everything here. Because we were an island. We were called the Isle of Orleans, and we're underground rivers everywhere. You got around by boat, and this was a thick
difficult swamp that getting out to mid-city 3 miles away was a day trip. I mean, this was a really rough area. She got out and went all the way around by boat. Giant, thick-ass swamp. So swamp magic is the root of it, and I really, really work with the swamp magic. I work with the alligator spirit, a little bit the snake. You work with more the snake. I work with more the alligator. And the alligator energy and spirits and the mud magic and things like that. So,
the snake represents healing.
oh yeah, like the caduceus, but shedding its skin,
I just wonder why when I use the snake, it's called voodoo. But when you go to the doctor, he's got
double snakes.
He's got right in front of the building.
The caduceus, that's the caduceus.
And then
it's probably because of the way you dress.
The pharmacist. Gotta be
not just the snake. You can put on a white lab coat and
but
carry.
The pharmacist, he got a snake too.
Oh yeah, that was from the old, magical symbol.
Pulling the worms out.
Pulling the worms out. I don't know about pulling the worms out. I was just going to say it's been used in many Greek, Roman symbols. You'll see that quite a lot, and it's used in many symbols in voodoo too. You got Simbi, you got
Sambi, Papa Legbo. No, you got Dumbala and Alawita.
You got all the above. You got Simbi, which uses a few of them. Simbi uses more, it seems like, of the double snake that looks like the Caduceus. But yeah, then you got Dumbala and Aida, which is more of the Yorubas going around the world. Then you got snakes that have to do with loco. I mean, there's a little snake energy around all.
You even got the ambulance who got the snake on.
The what?
In the United States, he's got 6 pieces of tape and a little snake. They don't mess with him.
Who's that?
The ambulance.
Oh, ambulance. He's still the Caduceus and the healing. Yeah. Now the snake has always been. I don't have it. Some people are ridiculously afraid of snakes.
The barbershop. The barbershop used to cut you.
They used to cut you.
Drain your blood out, and then people started dying. Didn't get mad with the snake. They want to scratch him out. Now they just got the little way the snake used to be.
Just cut my hair and leave me alone. No bloodletting today. No bloodletting. People are ridiculously afraid of snakes and ridiculously afraid of dolls. So those two together are probably, we could go scare a few
Marie
people.
Laveau had snakes.
Or at least one.
Yeah.
She had one living one. She had a lot of dead ones.
And what's her
They did say she puts zombie. Yeah. That's my snake's name, Zombie. Yeah, she put, but she also makes snake gumbo. She threw everything in that damn gumbo. They said they cut up the snake, they cut up the cat, and they just threw everything in the damn gumbo. Mm-hmm. And the water, of course. But yeah, they have a lot of different things. So, and then she would use snake skins and dried snakes, amulets and filters and fetishes.
Makes a great love potion.
They use snake in your love potion?
Yeah.
I got a bunch of different love potions. I don't know if I put snake in most of my love potions. I put it in a lot of stuff. More in the Gregories than in the potions. Mm-hmm. Just because it makes it harder to come out of the bottle, right? But yes, definitely animal, vegetable, mineral matter, and the snake is the go-to. And me, the gator. I use a lot of gator as well.
So how do you use it?
Well, I use the different parts that are there, but I use the spirit energy to transport, to walk through the worlds. So in between the worlds. It's also ancestral, so, and so is the snake. Yeah. But the gator, I just work a lot. I had a pet gator for a while. He died. You met my pet gator, Gordy. He died.
Oh, gosh.
He died. Don't you remember? Like 2 snakes and him died within 2 weeks of each other. It was very sad and disheartening, I have snakes again now, though. But for a while, I just stepped back on it. Said, okay.
I remember my grandfather, he had an alligator foot. And my grandmother, she had a foxtail and a rabbit foot.
Okay.
But once we left New Orleans, you didn't see that tradition anywhere,
Rabbit feet get around more than anything else. What about the raccoon penis? That gets around.
Yeah, but they said Marie Laveau, she had those things as well. They said she used a lot of different things.
A lot of different animal parts. Yeah, that's what I said. She had one living one, but we know she had a lot of dead snakes hanging, drying in the sun to use the dust and the skins and they used everything. They used everything of where you are.
But once you leave New Orleans, you don't see that anywhere.
Well, you might see similar stuff like in the mountains. Mm-hmm. Mountain people and do that.
And I'm sure Native American Indians use a lot of
Yeah.
animal medicine in
Yes,
different places,
yes.
but you don't see it as part of a culture
Exactly.
in too many places like you did here. Like I might, I've seen voodoo dolls and little weird things in people's houses since I can remember. Going over someone's house, and you didn't say much sometimes with somebody's grandma, somebody's aunt, you're like,
Yeah, you just
you notice, and then, you ask them, but you can't say to the, I was pretty bold though. I would kind of say, what's that for? I wasn't shy about wanting to know, what is that? Why do you have that? Why do you paint the bottoms of your tree? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? Why? But yeah, the animals. I had. I don't remember what I had. I had a skull when I moved. I went to college in New York. Got married. Got divorced. Came back. I had a skull. I had a snake taxidermy fighting a mongoose. I had a leopard rug with Ed Wilbur. He was really cool. I had a bear rug, and I had all kind of little animal parts and gator parts all around my house and stuff. And, whatever. I didn't think anything of it. I remember bringing my friend to New Orleans to Mardi Gras one year, and we're walking around. She's like, "Oh, that's why you do all that shit." Like she didn't want to say anything to me, but she saw everywhere she went in New Orleans that people were doing it. Just like, "Oh, it's from where you're from." And I'm
Exactly.
like, yeah, like that's brought up with that, the greenery bags and this and that. And she just never said anything.
It's so crazy when you leave New Orleans, you realize that you think everybody in the whole world is doing this,
right?
But they're not.
Yeah, and they don't get it. I got in real trouble in New York once, or twice, so lots of times. But once I was just like, going out with my friend, and then we're leaving, and we're gonna go to another place, and I, pick up my drink. I start walking out the door. 2 big ass, burly, mean bouncers grab me by both sides, start screaming at me. "Where do you think you're going, girl?" I'm like, "Going out, And he go, "What do you got?" Or I said, "Go cup." He's like, "Where are you from?" I said, "New Orleans." Like, a girl. Then they start sobbing. "Don't you know you can't do that stuff anywhere but there?" It's like, no, I actually didn't know. Until you guys scared the shit out of me trying to beat me up for walking out the door with a damn go cup. Though that's nothing to do with voodoo. But still, it's the kind of things that you assume everybody does or is.
But it does though, Mary, because this is the food is the soul. This is our spirit. They call this spirit.
They do. And I always give, this is libations. That is
I'll bring it over.
That is the food that we have, the plate that we have for the spirits. We have my chicken foot. We have my chamalanga coconut pieces for divination. We have a candle. We have, libations. We have food. We share. We film. We share. We have our friends. The dead are hungry. The dead are thirsty. And yeah, I say even the dead are foodies in New Orleans. You don't stop. You might be afraid of where you go. I'm not afraid to go to restaurants now.
No.
But I guess anybody could be still wanting to poison. You'd have to probably know somebody and pay them a lot of money to slip something in your food, But yeah, don't worry about that, fortunately. We have some very jealous, very, very jealous practitioners and people against each other in town. But most of those people weren't from here. I think, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. It seems like 10 years ago we used to get along better.
Well,
not just you. You mean you always get along. I don't mean that. I mean people around. But I guess there were always some backstabbers and stuff. But it just seemed like things have changed a little. And it's, again, we're not as much of a population that's from here as we were before Katrina. It's changed. And then the mystical, magical community has imported somebody from all over who want to make a name for themselves that are coming here.
They come here for that.
And what better way than to put down what was already there? Some people are more interested in the grass is always greener on the other side, bringing other traditions here. And I like to look at things from inside the box and out. So that's my purpose for this book series on New Orleans voodoo, New Orleans culture, and of course, Marie Laveau. because it's spell time with Bloody Mary, a little kitchen witch. And well, you might not find your snake skin in your kitchen, but you need to use animal, vegetable, and mineral matter combined to transform these basic ingredients of life into a conjured living spirit that you carry. It's not just a charm bag with individual things in there. It's about how you tie it, how you wake it, how you make it, how it dances. All that is very important, and a lot of that is secret, but animal, vegetable, mineral matter. Collect the correct herbs and make them work together. Marry the ingredients. Put it on a bed of moss, for that's part of swamp magic too. And you got to have some money in there. Pennies are the best. So we're going to have all that, and I might use snake and I might use gator. The gator is an aggressive animal, and it can protect you. It can either do a death roll with you, too. So depending on what you're making your gree for, it depends on what animals that you might use. You also might find some animals in your kitchen. Figure that one out on your own. And remember, the go-to is the snake. It's for healing and transformation.